most human beings don't take the time to sit down and look to see what they want in their life.
Are you living the life and dreams that others had for you, such as your parents or your teachers? Or are you living the life that you wanted? Since 1992, Cynthia Loy Darst is a passionate pioneer in the world of coaching. During her career, she has trained many coaches. And as the author of Meet Your Inside Team, Cynthia guides people to know themselves more effectively by understanding the conflicts that hold them back so that they can move forward with their lives. Welcome! We have Cynthia Loy Darst in the house today. I am so honored to have you. Cynthia, in my opinion, is one of the most passionate pioneer in the world of coaching since 1992, and I think one of the most quintessential coaches that I know.
Well, thank you so much, Terry.
Cynthia, tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are, because most of us coaches, I don't think ever started with the world of coaching. They had some circuitous route.
That's exactly true. I've been thinking about this question because I knew you would ask me this. And I realized that I kind of got here by accident and invitation. So what I mean by accident, when I started out, I was one of those kids that bounced from one major to another in college. I couldn't figure it out. I knew I was interested in psychology. It wasn't quite the right fit. I ended up in acting as a professional actor with a graduate degree. I have a master's of fine arts in acting, for God's sake. I went to New York City to become an actress, and the first person I met in New York was Henry House. Now Henry Kimsey House, who many years later ended up being a founder of CTI. So I became an actress for a time. I made my living as an actor because this organization that he was part of, Actors Information Project, taught the business of how to get work as an actor. I've got to tell you, that has served me so well because it was all about marketing. It was all about how do I find out what I want to do and then reach to the people who actually can hire me for that and then get to build relationships. So I did that for a few years. I ended up making my living as an actor. And along the way, I started finding that this is not really what it's cracked up to be. All I'm doing is looking for work. That's all I'm doing, right? So, okay, what am I going to do now? I've got all this training as an actor. I don't know what I'm going to do. I came back to Henry and to the people at Actors Information Project. They hired me. I became a career consultant for actors for some years, and it was a precursor of the coaching profession. We were working with actors. The year by then was 1986, and we were working with actors to set goals, to overcome objections, to get strategic, to make a plan. So it was early coaching. Fast forward, I leave New York, move to Los Angeles with my husband because we think we're going to have children and all of this. David, my husband's still in the entertainment industry. And I didn't know what to do at that point. So I went into sales for a while. And wrong about that time, they were cooking something up, which we now call it coactive coaching. And I was in their second course ever. And with my partner, Eric Kohner, my buddy, he and I ended up becoming business partners for a time. Eric said, what if we do some of these in LA? And we were like, oh, okay. So every time in my life, there's been some sort of invitation, some sort of, this is a cool, fun thing to try. Let's go here. I realized, Terry, that the times in my life when I've tried to set a goal and make something happen, and those have almost always gone sideways for me. Fast forward, here we are, 30 years later. During that time, I also said yes to an invitation, not only to be a CTI front of room leader and faculty, but also with CRR Global, the Center for Right Relationship. And I was on their faculty for 15 years. So that was also an invitation that I answered.
The world of coaching. Tell us, what do you see as the difference between 1992 and 2024?
In the early days, we heard a whole lot of, so do you coach sports? And people pay you for this? Don't they have any friends? Like, people had no clue of what we were doing. And a lot of the people that I initially started working with were young professional actors because that's where I had come from. And so then there was this moment where Laura Whitworth was like, I think this is needed in the corporate world. And we were a little bit like, oh, really? Really? Do you think it'll work in corporate? So it was all this sort of mystery, and nobody knew what a coach was. And now, you know, if I go out and meet someone at a party and I mention that I'm a professional coach or an executive coach, or half the time they'll either say, oh, I've done coach training, or they'll say, oh yeah, my sister's a coach. She's certified by, I mean, there's so much more knowledge and understanding. Companies that are succeeding have some kind of coaching culture. And this is dramatic. It's just dramatic.
Oh, I remember when I was started coaching, it was all about asking questions. Today, it's not that way anymore. Really, it's really partnering with a client for what do they want. And you have to be there and willing, I think, to wear many hats to accommodate them. Your thoughts?
In my many years now, I do hold the MCC credential, Master Certified Coach. I've been an MCC for many years now, and I actually mentor people going for that Professional Certified Coach and Master Certified Coach credential, which is the highest credential you can get, right? Well, I've got to tell you, it's not easy. And why is it not easy? Because it is extremely seductive. However, because most of our clients are super smart, and most people who come to coaching are pretty darn smart too, there's an easy way to accidentally go into problem solving with them. In the world of coaching, there's still a whole lot of question asking. It's also just kind of reframing and looking to see. You're bringing to mind even a client that I worked with this morning, who it would have been so easy to kind of go into a consulting point of view with her. I heard her anxious about some things. So rather than say, let's see what we can do to come up with a plan to lower your anxiety, that's not it. We actually went into, hang on a second. What's the difference between being anxious and vigilant or being aware and present to your life? What's the difference? And so as a coach, a whole lot of, when we say partner, it's that kind of partnering. Let's partnering about the way you think about things, not just what you're going to do.
When you present it that way, they have a choice to either stay in the anxiety and I see the difference. And where's that going to serve me?
And how do I get there? What does this mean to me? So a good, well-trained coach is actually going to use the client's brain more than their own. This isn't about my good ideas of what you should do. This is about let's lean into how you think about this, how you see this situation, and really start to unpack that so that you have choice.
I know that you mentor, you coach, you create change by not only helping others, coaches, mentors, so they can go out and create change. But how else do you see you're creating change?
Well, it's interesting because I don't really have like a dun, 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 here's my purpose. It's not like that. The older I get, the more work that I do with myself, the more that I'm leaning into kindness, joy. So when I come into a situation, when I'm with people I love, I believe that what I naturally do is bring kindness and joy and a permission for someone to simply be themselves, not have to look good, not have to be perfect all the time.
Right. So important. For me, I call it becoming.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I love that word. That's actually the perfect word for it.
That we give them the space, and you, to let their masks down so they can be authentic. And what could be more in creating change than having somebody become their authentic self?
Yeah, you actually nailed one of I've named that as a value, is becoming myself, helping myself to be more and more of what's really here, right? And supporting others in that. You're bringing to mind, some years ago, I did a TEDx talk called Safe Inside Yourself.
Cynthia, so we have talked about you and creating change. Let's take coaching to the universal level and talk about briefly, how does coaching create a thriving effect in society, whether it's companies, it's individuals?
Yeah, it's such a great question. It's like the first thing that comes to mind is, as we really take a look at, well, what is coaching? What does it provide? So most human beings don't take the time to sit down and look to see what they want in their life. Look to see how they're doing their life and what kind of choices they're making. So when you've got someone who's a trained coach who really knows how to listen well, not only will they help you take a look at the bigger picture of your life and start making a vision and plans, and they'll also be listening for those places where maybe you are selling yourself short, maybe you are doing the same pattern over and over again, expecting a different result. Maybe you're making choices out of obligation rather than conscious life-giving choices. So that is what happens in individual coaching. And if you now have that for your group or your team or your company, to have each person be able to be held and have a great conversation with a coach who's not there to tell them what to do or to be a yes man to their ideas, but to really, truly be a sounding board. That then has us together create a more conscious and life-giving world.
Don't go away. Cynthia has a lot more to share with us. This episode is brought to you by Try Coaching. Do you struggle with staying consistent with your goal setting and sometimes feel stuck and walk away? Do you have a plan in place to help you reach your goals? As an executive business and communications coach of 22 years, I help my clients stay focused on their goals. by helping them put strategies and plans in place to ensure that they don't veer off course. As your coaching partner, I'll help you stay on track by working with you to set up your intentions and roadmap. Please reach out to me and let's start a conversation. Conscious, life-giving world, and have a world, and was Magda's quote, thriving society where people can, and companies and everyone can thrive.
You're making me think about, when I coach people in different parts of their life, there are different kinds of conversations. And if I'm coaching someone who's in their 20s and 30s, quite often they're just waking up to the possibility that they're living the life that their parents wanted them to live, or that their teachers thought was a good life, rather than what do I actually want? What am I creating? What is the impact I want to be having with my life? And then there are people that as they come into their 30s and 40s and maybe 50s, they're suddenly like, whoa, how did I get in this sandwich generation? I've got these kids over here. I need, I've got parents that I've got to take care of. I've got all these things, all these pressures on me. How do I navigate that? And then when I'm working with people that are my age and older, quite often it's about transition, or my husband calls it rewirement, not retirement. What is the transition I want to go through? What's my identity if I'm no longer doing what my job title, right? Things like this. So these are the kinds of conversations that I have that I think make a substantial difference.
Beautiful. I love it. This is so inspiring. And can you imagine what the universe would be like if people were able to express themselves, to be doing what they want to do rather than what they think they want to be doing, or what other people, and certainly in companies, if companies, obviously they do bring in coaches, but mostly for the top level people, they don't have the budget for the other people, so to speak.
And Terry, more and more companies are starting to offer that. There are literally coaching companies like Better Manager, Better Up, Sage Coaching that are now coming in and offering coaching at all levels of a company. And these are just a few. There are other good coach brokering situations out there. That was just a dream one day.
Right. And the synergy and the expansion of work that would get done would be incredible. And so coaching on all levels presents the opportunity for people to grow and develop and create the changes they want. And who better asking than Cynthia Loy Darst? I'll say it, the quintessential coach of all time. I love the book you authored, Meet the Inside Team. Tell us what exactly that means and how turning your eyes inward can help someone look at conflict and then move through it and become more of who they want to be.
Yeah, that's so great, Terry. So Meet Your Inside Team is it's a piece of work that I developed. Interestingly enough, it has roots in my acting days. So some ideas that I got from that came into coaching, and then with my work with CRR Global, learning how to do systems coaching and relationship coaching, bit by bit, I started putting this all together. Here's what it is. Here's what your inside team is. Almost all of us, on a day-to-day basis, there's a lot of stuff we just easily do. We get up, we take our shower, we know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Then there are things, either projects that we're working on, or maybe relationship grinchy things that happen where inside our own head is this conversation going on. And the conversation might sound like, oh, you better get this done. It's time to move forward on this. And then there's another voice that goes, well, wait a minute. I don't know if now's the time. And then there's one in the back going, well, she's nasty to you. You need to get with, don't let her be nasty. And then some other part is like, hang on, you're okay. You don't, who's doing that talking? Who in the world is it that's having this conversation in your head? And what I started realizing as a coach is that it's not one voice. It's usually a conversation. And they start getting into a pattern of how they have a conversation. That's what I call the game that they play in your head. So in this book, and it's actually, the book is designed for any human being who would like to know themselves more fully, who has some curiosity about themselves and why sometimes they can be in powerful action and sometimes they aren't, or they can't, or they don't feel empowered. So, and then it also has some tips for coaches who might want to use it with their clients.
Because, we all have the voices, the ego, that there's a predisposition to a thought of who you were. And we grow up with that thought, never growing up because it stops us.
Yes. And one other piece to it. So, Terry, I know that you've worked with clients who say things like, well, there's a part of me that really wants to do this and a part of me that just thinks I'm too old. And that's your inside, that's their inside team around that specific thing.
And I love it because that's my platform. I am older, much older, and it's about creating change and letting people know that it doesn't matter what age you are. I started coaching at 60. I started a podcast 2.5 years ago, getting back on a stage. So yes, all of these voices stop us from being and becoming and doing what we want to do. I could spend all day, but we don't have that time. Give our audience 1 or 2 nuggets that they can take away from today.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, so there are a lot of different possible ways to go. I'll tell you what, since part of what you're pointing to here has to do with change, if I had a thought, I hope it's useful to some people because this has just been my experience, is that you want to watch in your own inside team, in your own thinking process, what do I really want here? And am I making myself wrong for not being in a different place, for not feeling a different way? Sometimes people feel like something's wrong with me. I'm not inspired. I'm not, hey, sometimes we're not inspired. Sometimes we go through ups and downs, and it doesn't make your journey or your journey of change any less real or right. Them's my thoughts on change.
And give yourself permission to go ahead and do what you want.
That too, right? So kind of building on that, Terry, noticing if you've made stuff up about what you can or cannot do, what society will or will not allow, looking to see what kinds of crap is driving your life. Is it you, or is it some thing that maybe your mother said to you 70 years ago that now is still running you?
Cynthia, this has been so amazing, so amazing. If anyone wants to reach out to Cynthia, Her links are in my show notes. And how can people reach you if they want to?
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Terry. Cynthia at teamdarst.com. TEAM, like we're a team. Team Darst, DARST.com.
Cynthia, this has been incredible. I thank you so much for taking this time with me.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you.
I hope Cynthia's compelling and extraordinary conversation offered you thoughts on how you can create changes in your life. Reviews encourage people to listen to my podcast. If you loved what you heard, please go to Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and review. For related content on extraordinary work, please visit my website, trycoaching.com. Meet Kevin McGough, a travel writer, avid cyclist, and inveterate traveler. He's the author of Find Your Landing Zone, Life Beyond the Bar, which is a book that combines tools, advice, and stories, all designed to motivate lawyers and other professionals to progress from thinking about what's next in life to creating a personal plan to make it happen. This is an episode you won't want to miss if you are thinking about the what's next for me part of your life.